In our headlines on this Thursday afternoon, March 28th, here in South Korea. Contenders seeking seats at the 22nd National Assembly are officially launching their campaigns today, and their rallies will lead up to the April 10th general election. Meanwhile, a fresh joint sanctions endeavor by Seoul and Washington blacklists 2 institutions and 4 individuals linked to illicit funding of Pyongyang's hostile weapons. And here in Seoul, bus drivers are on strike following a breakdown in talks over wage hikes, and bearing the brunt of these consequences are commuters in the capital city. We start on the local political front. Contenders seeking seats at the 22nd National Assembly have officially launched their campaigns. Now, these public events start today and lead up to the April 10th general election. Ruling People Power Party interim leader Han Dong-hoon began his rally in the wee hours of this Thursday by greeting people at a traditional market in southeastern Seoul amid government efforts to ease the cost of living. Meanwhile, main opposition Democratic Party leader Lee Jae-myung kicked off his rally in Incheon by greeting morning commuters before heading to Seoul's Yongsan district, his party's official campaign launch venue. During this formal campaigning period, candidates can use public address systems to reach out to voters and to pass out their name cards. On the security front, a fresh joint sanctions endeavor by Seoul and Washington has blacklisted 2 institutions and 4 individuals linked to illicit funding of Pyongyang's hostile weapons ambitions. Our foreign affairs correspondent Bae Eun-ji has details.
South Korea and the U.S. have newly added 2 entities and 4 individuals to their sanctions list for their involvement in illicit financing and generating revenue through overseas North Korean information technology workers that are used to fund the regime's nuclear and missile development. This includes a UAE-based firm called Pioneer Bangkok Star Real Estate and a Russia-based company called Alice LLC. South Korea's foreign ministry explained Thursday that the 2 companies were sanctioned for engaging in the dispatch and operations of North Korean IT workers abroad. Also on the sanctions list are 4 bank representatives, Yoo Boo-ung, Han Chul-man, Jung Sung-ho, and Oh In-jun, for evading sanctions and funding North Korea's nuclear missile development through illegal financial activities such as money laundering. The foreign ministry said Yoo Boo-ung in particular is a person that South Korea and the U.S. have both been tracking. The U.S. State Department also described Yoo as a linchpin in North Korea's illicit financial activities and a person that's skilled at employing various schemes to avoid detection. The latest action aligns with the 6th South Korea-U.S. Working Group meeting to counter North Korean cyber threats, a 2-day meeting that began Wednesday in Washington, D.C. Seoul's foreign ministry said the sanctions are expected to raise awareness of the risks related to transactions involving these individuals and entities, not just domestically, but also within the international community. A recent report by a panel of experts at the United Nations shows North Korea has obtained about half of its total foreign currency income through financial theft, such as hacking and cyber attacks. And these funds were used to cover 40% of the resources needed for developing weapons of mass destruction. Bae Eun-ji, Arirang News.
The South Korean Army and U.S. Marines have been conducting drills from March 19th at the Korea Combat Training Center to bolster combined operation capabilities. The U.S. 3rd Marine Division is taking part in the 10-day training for the first time. The drill involves some 230 combat assets, including armored fighting vehicles and self-propelled artillery. The 3rd Marine Division is stationed in Okinawa, Japan, and is one of the first U.S. military forces that can be deployed to the Korean peninsula in the event of an emergency. Also, on the security front, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba has requested South Korea's Patriot missile defense system. He stressed that the system is defensive in nature and not destructive, as it serves to shoot down incoming missiles. The remarks came in response to Seoul's resolute stance against the supply of lethal weapons to Ukraine amid its fight against Russian invasion. Pointing to North Korea's supply of lethal weapons to Russia, The minister claimed it would be in South Korea's best strategic interest to assist Ukraine. He also emphasized that South Korea may have succumbed to North Korea's aggression if its allies had chosen to abide by its logic of non-lethal weapon support back in the 1950s. In other news, Washington's top diplomat to Canberra was here in Seoul to present President Yoon Suk-yeol with a special award commending his courage to chart a fresh course of communication with neighboring Tokyo. Our senior correspondent Oh Soo-young covers this occasion and more.
President Yoon Suk-yeol has received an award he won last year from the John F. Kennedy Foundation for his courage and determination to pursue better bilateral ties with Japan for peace and prosperity for the region and the world. On Wednesday, Yoon met with Caroline Kennedy, the foundation's honorary president, and the current US ambassador to Australia, who had requested to deliver the award herself. She is the only surviving child of the former US President John F. Kennedy. Yoon had won the International Profile and Courage Award last year with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida for working to improve bilateral ties despite domestic opposition arising from historical issues. In particular, the foundation had noted Yoon's efforts towards rapprochement with Japan shortly after assuming office. It added that such courage to choose a more hopeful future led to a historic level of trilateral cooperation between the US and two of its most important democratic allies at their Camp David summit last August. Ambassador Kennedy said it was an honor to personally present the trophy to Yoon, noting he had pushed for the good of his people, nation and the world despite political opposition. Her husband, designer Edwin Schlossberg, who accompanied her to Seoul, had designed the trophy, modelling it on the shape of a lantern used on the USS Constitution warship to signify sincerity and courage amid external pressure. Yoon said he was deeply moved to receive an award from former President Kennedy's family, pledging further efforts towards peace in the Indo-Pacific based on trilateral cooperation with the US and Japan. He noted the honour symbolises the former US leader's new frontier spirit, which envisioned a better future during hard times through social and economic reforms. A senior official at Yoon's office told Arirang News that it is through the same courage and a sense of mission based on the new frontier spirit that the president has tackled illegal labour union activities, promoted education reform, and steadily pushes for medical reform despite the political disadvantages that may come his way. Previous recipients of the Courage Award include Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, US Presidents Barack Obama and George W. Bush, and former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
Bus drivers here in Seoul are on strike following a breakdown in talks over wage hikes, and bearing the brunt of these consequences are commuters in the capital city. Our Lee Seung-jae reports.
The Seoul Bus Labor Union and representatives from management began last-minute negotiation talks on Wednesday at around 3 p.m. That meeting lasted for 11 hours before the labor union called for an end to the discussions in the early hours of Thursday morning. By 4 a.m., the union declared that its drivers would go on a strike, marking the first strike by Seoul's intercity bus drivers in 12 years. However, there is still hope that the two sides can agree to end the general strike as soon as possible. Despite the breakdown in negotiations, working-level talks are still ongoing, and attention is now being paid to how much the gap will be narrowed during this process and whether an agreement can be reached. The key issue behind the talks is a wage increase. The 18,000-member union has reportedly asked for a 12.7% increase in their hourly wage, a revision of their salary system, and the abolition of wage discrimination for contract workers. The union is arguing that the increase in wages will also prevent manpower outflow to the Incheon and Gyeonggi regions. However, the management side has stressed that such an increase is excessive compared to the inflation and wage increase rates over the past 5 years. The Regional Labor Relations Commission, which has been mediating the negotiations, proposed a 6.1% increase, but ultimately failed to reach arbitration. With the general strike by the union, 7,210 buses, or 97.6% of all Seoul city buses, are now out of service. The last time drivers went on strike was in 2012. However, at the time, the partial strike only lasted for 20 minutes, avoiding any inconvenience to commuters. With this strike expected to last longer, Seoul City began operating emergency transportation measures to minimize inconvenience to commuters by extending and increasing subway services. To quickly connect subway commutes, free shuttle buses are also operating in Seoul's 25 autonomous districts. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, the government has renewed calls for trainee doctors to return to their respective hospitals, reaffirming its pledge to enhance working conditions for all junior doctors at medical centers. Our Choi Soo-hyung has the latest.
The South Korean government once again urged trainee doctors to return to their hospitals by the end of March. The government said interns won't be able to start their new training in the hospitals unless they finish their new employment registration by next Tuesday.
To all trainee doctors, please return to the training hospital until March. For those who have been accepted as interns this year, you are required to register by April 2nd. If you fail to register by this deadline, you will not be able to undergo internship training for the first half of this year.
The government has also stated that it will promptly improve in the working conditions for trainee doctors. Firstly, it plans to shorten the working hours of trainee doctors, enacting medical laws to limit maximum shift length to 36 hours, starting on a trial basis from May. The government will provide additional training expenses of 1 million Korean won, almost $900 to trainee doctors in essential medical sectors like obstetrics and emergency medicine. The number of cooperating hospitals for cancer patients will be expanded from the existing 100 to 150. Currently, President Yoon has proposed discussions with the medical community on the healthcare budget and healthcare reforms. The government has been presenting numerous alternative measures over the past few days. However, the medical community's response has been firm. Im Hyun-taek, a pediatrician elected as the new leader of the Korean Medical Association, insists on completely nullifying the government's plan to increase medical school admissions by 2,000 places. Moreover, professors from so-called Big Five medical schools in Seoul, including Seoul National University, Yonsei University, Ulsan University, Catholic University, and Sungkyunkwan University, have all agreed to submit resignation letters. Among the trainee doctors who began resigning 6 weeks ago, none have returned yet, and over 10,000 medical students have applied for leave. To minimize disruption to patient care, the government says it will deploy an additional 1,900 physician assistant nurses and 200 more public health doctors. Choi Soo-hyung, Arirang News.
On the business front, Hyundai Motor and LG have unveiled ambitious initiatives to bolster Korea's industrial ecosystem via greater R&D investment and larger corporate manpower. Park Gon-woo covers their plans.
South Korean conglomerates LG and Hyundai Motor Group are set to invest domestically in advanced industries to raise their competitiveness. According to LG during its annual shareholders meeting in Seoul on Wednesday, it'll be investing 100 trillion won, or over $74 billion within Korea for the 5 years until 2028. That's around 65% of the company's global investment total. LG said around 50 trillion won will be invested in future technologies, including AI and bio, along with pivotal business fields such as batteries and next-generation displays. The company aims to make Korea a manufacturing hub of research and development and smart factories.
As there is a high possibility of AI being a game changer in our society, it is a good idea for companies to invest in important fields such as AI, bio, and secondary batteries.
On the same day, Hyundai also announced its midterm plans for investment and employment in advanced industries. The company said it will be investing 68 trillion won, or roughly $50.4 billion, for 3 years including this year, with each year's investment volume at around 22 trillion won. That is a 30% increase compared to 2023. And most of the investment will be allocated to R&D, including technologies for software-defined vehicle, and building new electric vehicle plants, along with research infrastructure. Hyundai plans to diversify its EV lineup to up to 31 models, and expand its annual car production to over 1.5 million units by 2030. Hyundai will also be hiring around 80,000 people, and more than half of that number will be workers in advanced industries. One expert predicts a bright future for companies investing in these fields.
If Korean companies could develop technologies and products through R&D, there'll be more investment from overseas.
He added that building partnerships between these companies and the government will also be important to the development of future industries. Park Gun-woo, Arirang News.
Also here in Seoul, an exhibition is currently underway showcasing the prospects of using robots to automate low-skill and physically challenging manual labor to free up highly skilled human workers. Our An Sung-jin was there.
Robots are now being looked at to lead automation in the manufacturing industry. Smart Factory and Automation World 2024, hosted by the Ministries of Trade and SMEs, kicked off on Wednesday, showcasing various robots from more than 400 companies with nearly 70,000 people participating.
The solution to a lack of manpower is a digital transformation, and applying technology like AI can boost productivity and increase safety in the workplace.
Hanwha Robotics, which first launched collaborative robots in 2017, develops robots that are used in multiple industries, including those of automobiles and electronics. These robots perform not only simple tasks such as picking up and placing heavy objects, but are also capable of screwing things in, polishing, and welding. They have a similar reach to a human being and can help when a workspace is narrow.
As the working population is shrinking, these robots can fill gaps in the unstable employment market. Workers also get to do more productive tasks rather than tedious jobs. We're looking to create a total robot solution.
Similarly, this company, Rainbow Robotics, also provides solutions for automation with its specialization in humanoid robots. The company provides manufacturing collaborative robots such as robotic arms to boost productivity. Its two-armed robot is being introduced for the first time at this exhibition. At 120 to 170 centimeters tall and weighing around 50 kilograms, they can perform the exact same tasks a human can with 5 fingers on each hand that can bend and pick things up. With artificial intelligence, they can also easily perform input tasks.
We're now looking to focus more on autonomous mobile robots that can assist workers in the retail sector, including humanoid robots. The possibility for automation is near infinite, and it's important to have an internalized platform like ours.
The global automation market is expected to grow up to nearly $400 billion by 2029 from $200 billion in 2022.
With continuous government support, the sales of domestically built industrial robots are expected to grow up to 3.1 trillion won, or $2.3 billion by the end of this year. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
Let's take a look at the latest news in the world now. We begin today in Indonesia, where 2 losing presidential candidates have demanded a revote, alleging fraud at the polls and general irregularities. Indonesia's top court began hearing the appeals of the 2 candidates, Anies Baswedan and Ganjar Pranowo, on Wednesday. The results of the February 14th election, announced on March 20th, indicated that Defense Minister Prabowo Subianto won with 58.6% of the votes. Former Jakarta Governor Anies Baswedan and former Central Java Governor Ganjar Pranowo trailed Subianto with 24.9% and 16.5% of votes respectively. Baswedan and Pranowo both claim irregularities and are critical of Subianto's running mate, 37-year-old Raka Buming Raka, the son of the outgoing president Joko Widodo. The country's top court, at the time led by Widodo's brother-in-law, made an exception for Raka to run despite the minimum age requirement for candidates being 40. Pranowo is demanding that election results be annulled and the winners disqualified, saying that a firm stand must be taken to reject oppression, including the government's use of state resources and the security forces to support certain candidates. Thailand's lower house of parliament passed a marriage equality bill on Wednesday, moving a step closer to legalizing same-sex unions. If approved through all legal procedures, Thailand will become the third territory in Asia to legally protect equal marriage rights. The bill had full support in Parliament, with 400 votes for and 10 against from the 415 members. Some lawmakers displayed the LGBT flag during the session, and many applauded as the flag was waved after the bill was confirmed to have passed. Initially, one of the 400 parliamentarians accidentally pressed the wrong button, showing 399 in favor, but the error was amended accordingly. Thailand's marriage equality bill now must acquire the Senate's approval and the King's endorsement before it becomes law. A bus crash on a motorway in eastern Germany, close to Leipzig, has killed at least 5 people and injured around 50. The bus, operated by Flixbus, was on the busy A9 motorway connecting Berlin to Munich before it swerved to the right and ending up on its side. Leipzig police spokesperson Olaf Hopp said at the site of the crash that while 5 people were killed, that number is not yet verified. Flixbus also commented that the exact circumstances of the accident are not yet known. While the police said the figures were only based on the number of seat bookings, some 53 passengers and 2 drivers were on the bus traveling from Berlin to the Swiss city of Zurich. Now to Russia, where 2 polar bear cubs have taken their first steps outside in the snow at an eastern Siberian zoo. According to a staff member at the Orthodoidu Zoo, the cubs were born in December 2023, but the mother of the cubs did not allow them to venture outside until they became strong enough. The cubs are born blind and weak, weighing only around 500 grams. The mother bear, named Kolimana, was found orphaned in 2012 at a natural reserve in Yakutia's far northeastern Arctic Ocean coast. The father, named Lomonosov, was born at the Leningrad Zoo in St. Petersburg and later moved to Siberia. The zoo's name, Orthodoidu, means middle world in Yakutia Sakha language. According to local myth, the middle world is where animals and humans thrive, while the upper world is inhabited by the gods. Kim Seong, Arirang News.
Good afternoon. After some very pleasant weather we had yesterday, it's a rainy day again. Central regions could receive rain mixed with yellow dust, while mountainous regions on Jeju could see up to 80 millimeters, while parts of Gyeongsang-do province could see 30 to 80 millimeters of heavy spring rain, along with thunderstorms and strong wind. We had a warmer start to the day, but rain is dragging down the highs 1 to 5 degrees lower than Wednesday, topping out at 14 degrees in the capital, just at 13 degrees in Daegu. And the changeable weather we've had this month made for an unpredictable cherry blossom season. Colder than normal seasonal temperatures and the lack of sunshine due to frequent rain are behind the delay. Cherry blossom festivals kicked off across Korea, but it will take extra days for the full bloom to be seen. But at least the weather conditions will become more promising from tomorrow for the flowering. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the international weather conditions.
That ends our Thursday afternoon newscast. Coming up next is our daily panel session. Thank you for now.